Hey guys, this is Leper Maniac, and I put in today. It was very hard work to say least to gather all the cards. The deck profile of the gentleman who these cards belong to. Just a second. Okay, down. There we go. It's Orgot the Relentless, as you might see. And Orgot the Relentless is played by one of the first rivals, then companions of Yugi Muto, which, to say the least, hated him at start, right after the Duelist Kingdom, as he Yugi Muto defeated Pegasus. He thought that Yugi Muto cheated in the game, as a matter of fact, and as a result of that Pegasus, I don't know, maybe committed suicide or ran away or something like that, as he had for his own game company, which he had, or which he was about to start. A great deal with the how is it called, the company from Pegasus, the Industrial Illusions company, of course. He had a great deal with his game company, namely Duke Devlin, and then he entered in a battle with Yugi Muto, the king of all games, in order to show the whole world that Yugi Muto was a betrayer, and he could never defeat Pegasus, as he had to enter this game against him in a dungeon dice game, which is a game invented by Duke Devlin. Right before that, it was very interesting. Joey Wheeler fought against him, and he was very able to defeat Joey Wheeler, who was second in the Duelist Kingdom. Second place after Yugi, or you might say third place, as Pegasus was second. And so like I said, he challenged him for first, and then as Yugi won this game, he convinced him that Yugi convinced him that Yugi was indeed a very able, skillful player at every arc, or every game segment. And then they became friends, and in Battle City he also was right beside Yugi and his companions, so he became part of his team. Then in the Virtual World arc, he was trapped within this machine type capsule virtual world with all others, and then they stuck together very tightly with each other. And one of the games which Duke had to share was a game against one of the big five, namely the very one who was organized and kept aside for the sphere of machine weapons and weapons of mass destruction, all those things, which was Nezbitt. So he was trapped into a duel with him, along with Tristan and the sister of Joey Wheeler, named Serenity. After that arc, in the Orcacus arc, he battles himself another time, so I will be dropping just one deck profile. If it hadn't been that logical, I would have done his deck profile right before, in between the Duelist Kingdom and the Battle City arc, but I thought it would be very useful and logical that I drop one, because if you summarize all the cards he used to make it barely to one deck, so yeah, it is very useful and logical to have just one deck. And I think the most intense duel which he had was in the Virtual World Saga. Now, on to his monsters, or his deck in general. You can say he had a very dice-based deck, as he was also the inventor of the Dice Dungeon game. And so his first monster had also an effect, Olga the Relentless, put in there 2 times. The effect working with dice effects. Yeah. Here you can go further. He had also dice ops, put also 2 times in there. This card he did not play out. I think he didn't even possess it, but yeah. In the deck list in the internet, which I did research this video for, or search through, it was shown in his deck, so I put it in there. His deck was also, if you just regard the monsters, had especially 2 types, namely one was on the one hand the machine type monster, and on the other hand the warrior type monsters such as August the Relentless and of course Strike Ninja. Then another machine type which was Gradius, shown in between Battle City, and I would call it Battle City, but it wasn't actually part of the Battle City arc, in between the first and the second era. Gradius. Also shown in that very duel was Iranzo, which is a zombie type, but yeah, it's a little bit cast out from that deck, you can say, because like I said, he mainly uses warrior type and machine type monsters. Oh no, I have to correct myself, because he has another zombie type. So okay, you can see it's a triangle from warrior, machine type, and of course zombie type monsters. He had this 13th Grave and Dark Assailant, which I put in there 2 times. Then machine type monster Spikebot, and this one he didn't engage into his deck, but it also does work with dice in his effect, and was also shown in his deck list. It is called Hunter from Behind, I think. Might be the good translation. Then also machine type monsters Roulette Barrel, which also works with dice. Then Karate Man, a warrior type monster. Getsufuma, also a warrior type monster. And legendary Yujitsu monster, also a warrior type monster. And last but not least, an Oni Panzer T-34. Now, these were his monsters. He had not that much monsters in his deck. It was now 17 or 18, I think. So yeah, we can go further onto his spells, which were not that few. Namely, Double Cyclone, in order to destroy magical trap cards. Show Duel, which is a field spell card which works with dice. Of course, as a stable in order to increase its draw power. Cards of Sanctity as another staple. Monster Reborn. Then remove Trap, another staple, which I don't. With this one, he hadn't, I think, in his deck, as well as these two. I think this one he showed in his deck list, but these two I imagined. This one is another staple. That one is a powerful draw engine for dice. Dice draw engine. Then another staple, of course, Dark Hole. In order to, support his warrior type monsters, of course, or to be appropriate in combination with his warrior type monsters. His weaponry hands, I think it's called, or something like that. Weapon hands, arms, weapon arms. So stop defense, which I think he used also in the duel against Nezbitt. One card which he was shown in his hand, Dimension Hole, and two of his main field magic cards, namely Dice Dungeon, which I put in to this deck 2 times in general, as it was his basic spell card, which all of his strategy was outlined about, as well as, and as you can see on the artwork, is Dimension Dice 2 times, because you have Orga the Relentless on the artwork, and it was basically a card which he played out. Another card which he played out, not in this arc but in the arc before, to set the scene for the arc before, was Farrier Meteor Crush. And one card which he did not use, wasn't played, shown in his deck list, but I think it might fit very well to that character, is Diceful Dice. Then another card which I think he played out, but in the Orcalcus arc, was Dice Typhoon, which works as a magic and trap destroyer. Then Reasoning, another card which supports this main strategy of being a little bit risky. And last but not least, Summon Dice, which he played out in the Orcalcus arc as a matter of fact to play out a monster. These onto his spell cards. Now about his trap cards, which of course are also based on the dice mechanics, namely Fire Bows, which makes effect damage in relation to what which number of dice you get, which of the dice numbers from 1 to 6 you get. I think plus 100, yeah. Nail Wall, which also works with dices. Another one staple, Magic Jammer. Hat Decision, which also works with dices. Mishizui, a trap card which he played out against Joey Wheeler. Then Sakuretsu Armor, attack negate card, which reminds me onto his warrior type monsters, such as Strike Ninja. And then Dice Reroll, which of course helps if he has a bad result to reroll in order to get a bit better result. Then Blind Destruction, another of those cards which were shown in his deck list, like this one also. This one I imagined he would be very appropriate as well. And then Preparation to Strike Back, another one of those dice full engines, as well as Sixth Sense, which work with dice as well as a foreign draw power in order to increase its draw power. And last but not least, a card which was shown in this deck list is Interdimensional Transporter. Now I hope you guys liked it, and yeah, hit the like and subscribe button and stay tuned for more content. And as always, I will be working for another decks. I think, as I said, next up will be Tristan Taylor or Serenity Wheeler. I don't know which one. I think one of those. And if it is finished, then yeah, slowly but remorselessly we'll get onto the antagonists of this arc. To make a long story short, I hope you guys have a nice evening, and goodbye. Yourself a maniac.